So possibly one of the most exciting brands to come to Ireland in the last few years. This is Polestar. So Polestar is part of the Volvo Geely group, which means they've got plenty of money and plenty of experience from Volvo as well. And that's the real key here, is they're not reinventing the wheel. They're taking very good design, very tried and tested things. They're making them full electric in a new model. And this model is the Polestar 2, and there will be Polestar 3, 4 and 5 on the way. That we've seen some concepts and stuff from them as well. Seriously exciting stuff to look at and to use and to see on the road as well. So let's get into a little bit of detail about the range, the batteries and the kind of necessary stuff you need to know. Polestar 2 comes in 3 versions: standard range, long range and a long range with a dual motor. There are 2 batteries, a 69 kWh battery and a 78 kWh battery. The 69 can charge at a 230 kW DC and a 78 kW can charge at a 255 kWh DC. Range varies from 470 km to 540 km for the single motor. The dual motor, even with a 78 kWh battery, gets a range of 480 km. For the 2 single motor ones, 228 horsepower and 480 horsepower for the dual. Torque is 330 Newton meters for the 2 single motors and 660 Newton meters for the dual motor, with 0 to 100 km an hour has been dealt with in 4.7 seconds for the dual motor, 7.4 for the single motor, so not quite as fast. There are 3 grades to choose from. Standard in all cars is Pilot Pack, that gives you 360 degree cameras and LED headlights, LED front fog lights and automatic dimming exterior mirrors. The one I suggest though you should go for is the Plus Pack, which gives you a lot more, including a crucial heat pump as standard. Also fully electric front seats with memory, wireless phone charger and vegan upholstery. 13 speaker Harman Kardon audio is also normal in that one. The final pack is a Performance Pack. That's got Brembo brakes, adjustable DFV dampers, 20-inch Ford alloys and all kinds of things included, but it does have a shorter range than the rest. Performance one seems to be extraordinarily quick, but maybe not up there with the Tesla one. But they do mention in their press conference that they're talking about Tesla as being a competitor, but also Mercedes, Audi, BMW, the whole, they want to take them all. This is a luxury brand, I think you would call it, and it does actually feel luxurious. Look at the design, it is perfect Swedish design. You've got that kind of step out here that goes straight out from the edge and then drops off. It's very Nordic looking in every respect, and I think that's kind of good. Some of the design is based on the Volvo design themselves, so there is elements of Volvo in it. Certainly some of the switchgear inside is from Volvo, so the door handles and things, there's some bits in here that you spot from Volvo. But all of it actually works together really well. It does look brilliant in terms of design. It looks brilliant. Let's have a look at the boot though, because there's a couple of little natty features in here too. So you can see that flat Swedish design on the back of the car. There's no buttons, there's no handles. There is actually a button here, but there's no handles or anything. It's an electric tailgate. This is all standard stuff, by the way. And they split the boot in half, so you can lift up this little thing to split that boot down the middle, and you can make it so you can, put in your shopping bag stuff. And I have to admit there's no shopping bag hooks, but I can live with that because they've put in these kind of straps and tie downs and novel things to kind of keep everything in one spot. So it actually makes a really practical car as well as just being a perfect design car. It's got good space in this boot, and you can drop all those seats as well to have a load through in the front. Let's have a look though what you get on the inside. Is it any different from a Volvo, really? So interior of this car is, I won't say it's remarkable, bloody hell, but it is very, very pretty. Good solid thuds of everything. Everything feels that way. The whole car starts as soon as you get in as well. There's a persistence to the stuff that's on the dashboard. So when the car is plugged in at a charge point, anybody can look in the window and see what the charge level is of the car, which is good because you know the car charge is finished, right? It's simple as that. In the center, there's a single big touchscreen. There is a volume knob, one knob, and there is 2 little buttons for turning on heated windscreens and rear windscreen heater demister as well. Then you have the gear shift behind and hazard warning lights, wireless charging trays in front. But this is worth talking about because what they've done here is to put in a full Google experience, which means this entire car is run straight from Google. If you already have a Google account, then this will be reflective of your Google account. It will log you into Spotify. It'll take all of your phone settings and have it straight on the car here in front of us. And you can always use the OK Google feature to take you anywhere. Here it is. Take me to Dublin City Centre.
Navigating to Citizens Information Centre, Dublin City Centre.
It's going to Dublin City Centre. I have not trained this today. I did not give it any information. We did not go through a language training system. It's just that good at picking up your accent instantly. And I know because one of the guys at work for Polestar here is Graham, and he's Scottish, and it picked him up instantly as well. So Irish people and Scottish people, and you know, there's accent issues when you come to most of this stuff. But interior wise, this is a beautiful place to hang out. This stuff really works. Everything that's in here works. There's a small little touchpad at the bottom here that gets you into the rest of it. You can open up Polestar. They've got a playlist of their own, and you can swap these maps around. Plus you can get some information about your car, how heavy the steering is, one pedal drive is there, creep is there. There's absolutely tons of things you can go in and out of. Get information about your charge as well. You also have a way of charging from a 3-pin plug if you want as well. So you can charge from 3 pins, you can charge from your standard type 2, and DC charging as well, which is full speed as well. So it's got it nailed in that respect, and it's a beautiful place to hang out. A little bit, I suppose, Spartan, but I think that's the kind of Swedish look for things as well. I think that kind of vibe of not a whole lot going on is quite normal. Heads up display is very good. We'll see more of that actually on the road, but right now we're going to check out what's in the backseat. I was going to turn the car off, but you don't actually need to just get out. So in terms of rear legroom, remember they're putting big batteries in this these days. There's actually loads of it. I have enough there to fit my fist between me and that seat, and this big sun moon roof, this just large roof, is beautifully done. There's actually a good little tip about this one as well. This is UV insulated, which means you sit here and I can look straight at that sun and I can't feel it. So it's not burning my face, which is brilliant when you sit in the back seat, because I don't see a way of actually closing this over to make it dark in here. There is grab handles on both sides. There's nets on the back of that. You got vents here. You got heated seats in the rear of this car, probably an option. And then there is a charge port, which is 2 USB-C charge ports that are back here as well. And good big doors for that family feel. You feel the solidity of this car. You really do feel how solid it is and how much of a Nordic feel and Volvo feel to the whole thing. Center armrest is here as well, and they can load through all the way into the back. So it's just got everything covered. A really practical car. What we're trying to find out here is, when I buy Model 3 or Model Y, which this is probably a little bit closer to Model Y than 3 because of the big lift back on it. And then of course there's a good few options out there at the moment with electric cars, but this being a new entry, let's take it for a spin and see if we can actually figure out which one's the best. Hey, listen, before we go any further, thank you very much for watching into this video this far, but I'd love you to hit the subscribe button. So down the side of the screen here, you will see ways to subscribe, and leave a comment and leave a like, and we will stop bothering you. So all you gotta do is subscribe. Thanks very much for watching. Back to the show. So Polestar, what we're looking at here, this is the Polestar 2 rear-wheel drive. There is a four-wheel drive, there is a performance version of the car, but this two-wheel drive one is probably the one you're going to plump for if you're that sort of just looking for a family vehicle, a competition directly with Tesla, with all the top end of the market, or kind of, you know, the more achievable but reassuringly expensive end of the market is what you're talking about here. I like the dashboard. There is a simple little button you can press to make it more, look at the speedo bigger, and you're looking at power and charging bigger, or you can flick down and turn it into the mapping system, which comes from Google Maps. So if you're already using Google Maps, this is a pretty straightforward transition. By the way, this cost me £5. I didn't know you had to pay to get into these places. But there you are, you see, you have to pay. Again, reassuringly expensive. Polestar's already cost me £5. So the infotainment system in the center is pretty straightforward. There are 4 panels in front of you. You can set those panels to be what you want. One of them is phone. One of them today is press kit for me, but you can set that to be anything. And then the other one is Spotify, and then you have maps up in the top corner. Realistically, this is the first car that we've been into that I've actually been able to use the voice control. And you may think I'm psychopathic on that, but loads of people go on to me about voice control and Teslas now. They go on about, you should use the voice control, but this one actually works. This actually works. And it's the first one that without question works on my accent, no matter what speed I talk at. And now I'm going to do the worst thing I can do on camera, is try and prove that. Hey Google, tell me a joke.
Why can't elephants use computers? Because they're scared of the mouse.
Well, I suppose you could limit that down to being a joke, I'm sure, in some languages. But you get how it works. What I'm talking about here is that the voice control works perfectly well. So you can do stuff, simpler stuff than that, or more complicated information than that, which is more like, hey Google, take me to Weston Airport.
Navigating to Weston Airport.
So in simple terms, this is like spot on. One good factor with Google Maps on this is it not only gives you the fastest route to it, but it tells you, just like Tesla does, what your charge is going to be like when you arrive there and what will be when you do the return journey. That is vital information for anyone driving electric cars, because they are quite simply a ball ache if you don't know how much charge you got left to get there. Performance wise, this car feels like it's been pushed along the road. When you floor it, you do get a good torque surge, and it comes at you like a big surge as well. It's not a punch in the back, it's a surge of power that comes along with it. It's actually quite manageable. It's informative enough to be interesting to drive. Ride and handling, so suspension feels a little bit, it's very firm under me, You can hear a lot of road noise, you can hear a lot of tyre roar from the car. Depending on the surface, of course, we have weird surfaces in Ireland, which is why a lot of car companies test their models here in this country. But we have some strange surfaces, and this surface right now means the rumble from the car is quite loud. Listen. And that is quite a gentle surface we're talking about here. This is not a difficult surface to drive on. This isn't terribly rutted, but it's nice. You'll get used to it. I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker for me. Is this the best electric car in the market right now? Oh, that's a tough one, lads. That's a tough one, because they're starting to get really good now. Like Tesla Model 3 was the trendsetter. It's good, it's up to date now, it's doing pretty well. It's had a few software updates. It feels like a competent car, but again, it doesn't really drive all that well. And the boot is a terrible thing. The boot, the little hole for being a boot, just doesn't make any sense to me. Also in this range, you've got like Volkswagen ID4s, ID3s. So now I'm not saying they're a competitor for this. They're not really a competitor for this. This sees itself a step above most of that. You've got Audi e-tron though. Audi, they make really good cars. They handle very well. Chances are they handle a little better than this, but still, this car is easily comparable to that. What about Volvo themselves? Volvo's involved in making this car. The companies, they're brothers and sisters, so to speak. They're the same sort of company. So what about that? Well, that's going to be a difficult one to pull off, because Volvo they trade on being a very safe company, and they are a separate company. So Volvo Ireland have nothing to do with Polestar Ireland. They're not the same company. But they are above them. They're part of the same group. So there is shared bits. On the steering wheel here, I can clearly see Volvo controls. There is shared components here, a lot of them. But it does show through just how good in design terms that Polestar has become, because I don't feel like I'm driving a Volvo. I feel like I'm driving something Swedish, but I don't feel like it's a Volvo I'm driving. There is enough differences here for me to enjoy what's in front of me. Now, whether it's the best on the market will come down to me having it for a longer drive than today. We're getting a couple of hours with it here, so I'm getting very familiar with the car. I love the design. I think the exterior design is second to none. It's gorgeous. And having a look at some of we've seen concept of their Polestar 5. We've seen the models of Polestar. We kind of seen behind the scenes stuff of 2 and 3 and where they're going with that. So there is a few, or sorry, 3 and 5. I think we've seen 4. But there is comparable bits like model that Polestar 3 is going to be, I think, closer to XC90 size of car, but not the height of it, but the width of it. And then Polestar 4 is going to be XC60 size. Again, the width of it rather than the height of it. So they're going after SUV stuff. And this does feel like an SUV, but the size of it makes it look like, again, we need a new segment. We need a new segment because this is large hatchback, nearly estate-sized car. But it kind of looks a little bit like a squat SUV. It's odd. Range, hard to test in a couple of hours. It seems realistic. It seems to be giving a proper range. Whether it is or not is a whole different ball game. Love one pedal driving. Real straightforward stuff just seems to work really, really well. I love the acceleration as well. You can kind of bully your way across junctions and stuff. Just floor it and go. It feels very good. They're very squirty, these edges. Press the button, squirt, go, and it feels really good. But I'll tell you what, let's pull over and really figure this out. What's good, what's bad, and what's not. So I know we have to pull over and talk about this because Polestar has brought us something that I really wasn't expecting to be as good as it is. It's such a solid feeling car. It feels well, it goes well, it drives well. Yes, it's a little bit noisy inside the cabin, but certainly the Google software works best in class. It's far better and far easier to use than Apple CarPlay, for instance. I often find Siri lacking out on things, whereas Google seems to be able to answer any of my questions. Now, it does tie you in to Google, so you are going to be stuck in there. There is an Apple CarPlay alternative. So if you're an Apple fan, and believe it or not, a massive part of the market uses Apple, massive part of the market, then I'm not sure whether this is going to work for you now. But I think as a car, as a vehicle, and as an electric vehicle, I think there's very little to touch it in the market in that price range. You would have to go way off out there into IX territory to find something from another company that actually competes with this, because this is just an exceptional car for possibly ordinary people. Watch out, Tesla, because it's coming. Now, there's a plane revving up back there with my name on it. I'm going to try and give myself a little flight in one of these planes. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've hit the subscribe button. If you like what you see, then make sure you subscribe, like and comment, and maybe even share it if you want to. You can find things out on Patreon if you want to go over there and support the channel financially. There's channel memberships here. There's also just a straight up PayPal donation if you want to do that too. But the free way to support the channel for both of us is if you just click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and until the next time, I'll see you on the far side, hopefully of the sky.